Welcome to Patriot News Broadcasting, where it is Eddie Van Halen T-shirt day, better known as Friday. Charlie Kirk. It's in the news. I got to tell you, I'm so frustrated today. You got the people out there that didn't give Charlie Kirk the time of day when he was, not alive, dead, that are just out there having field day talking about it. You got people making up channels now using his name that have come out of the woodwork. It's ridiculous. And then you got the people that just know what's happening and call you stupid for any other opinion you throw out there. But I'll tell you, and I'll say it one last time, because after today we're not talking about Charlie Kirk anymore. He's alive. I don't care if you want to believe me or not. They told you again, and then they told you again. And if you missed it, I don't know what to tell you. We could start here. This was on Monday. Juan and Nino put out a little video saying something big's going to happen this week. There's the cards on the table. 5/5/9/10. The date it happened. All right. There's your first comm. Even though Nino got on there and acted like a total douchebag this morning, frankly, and his viewers or people in his chat or whatever, ripping on people saying he's still alive. Sort of like MJ Truth did today, calling people dumb that followed the Jaco theory. I'm going to save Charlie for after the news, and we'll talk about how screwy it is and all the stuff there. You probably should have seen the Valhalla thing there in the intro. Kash Patel said, "I'll see you in Valhalla." Juan told you what Valhalla is, what it's code name for. I don't care if you want to believe it or not. We'll get to it. Other things to talk about first. There was a man fatally shot during a traffic stop after dragging and injuring an officer in Chicago today. So that's not what witnesses said happened, but.
Breaking news out of Chicago now, a deadly shooting involving an ICE officer. Homeland Security officials say it happened this morning after officers pulled over a car allegedly being driven by an undocumented immigrant. They say that the driver stopped, but then aimed his car at the officers and hit one of them before taking off and dragging that officer. DHS says the officer opened fire and killed the suspect. Our Luke Barr joins me now with more. So, Luke, what more do we know?
Well, Kira, what we know is that early this morning, just outside of Chicago, ICE officers were conducting a targeted immigration enforcement operation. But they say somebody who's in the country illegally, has a history of criminal records with reckless driving. They attempted to stop that person. This person stopped initially, then they continued on, hitting an ICE officer, dragging that ICE officer, a couple of feet, and then as they were trying to. The ICE officer, according to DHS, says that they feared for their life. They took out their weapon, they shot, and then ultimately killed that person who was driving the car. And then medical attention was given immediately, Kira. All of this coming as ICE officers face a 1,000% increase.
I was reading your comments in the chat. It's not about what you think it's about. In fact, it might just be about the opposite of what you think it's about. I don't think it has anything to do with witness protection because he's had death threats or anything. It's about my first opinion over the conversation last night is it had to do with election stuff in Utah and getting feds into Utah, but I do have another theory there. And it kind of ties in when people keep telling you there's foreign intelligence involved. Trump's targeting Memphis next. Thank God. It's a beautiful city, but it's crime-ridden.
The next stop for the National Guard is Memphis. That's according to President Trump, who says he's planning to deploy troops to the Tennessee city as part of a crackdown on crime. Trump calling Memphis, quote, deeply troubled during a Friday interview on Fox News.
We're going to Memphis. I'm just announcing that now, and we'll straighten that out.
National Guard?
National Guard and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need it.
Memphis coming into focus just weeks after Trump surged law enforcement in Washington, D.C., with troops patrolling streets in the district. The president also deploying the National Guard to Los Angeles earlier this year. Memphis topping the FBI's 2024 list of cities with the highest crime rate per 100,000 people.
I can see their mayor now. What crime? We don't have any crime. What crime are you talking about? God, I don't know if I can take more of the ignorance of this country, but, and what I'm really particularly worried about is after the Trump assassination attempt, it divided the shit out of the patriot community, and that's exactly what this stupid Charlie Kirk thing is going to do, because people are arguing to death about it, and patriots are arguing with patriots about it. It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. The United Nations overwhelmingly passed a non-binding resolution to establish a Palestinian state. I think this is an extremely bad idea.
The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
And you can see almost every country minus 10.
The result of the vote is as follows.
And the 12 that abstained voted for the Palestinian state.
The United Nations General Assembly has just voted overwhelmingly in favor of a declaration outlining steps toward a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine. Kristen Salumi joins us now from the United Nations in New York. Kristen, I mean, this comes, less than 24 hours after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there would never be a Palestinian state. So what does this all mean?
Well, it shows an incredible amount of pushback from the international community, which, as you noted, overwhelmingly voted to move forward with a conference on the two-state solution during high-level week of the General Assembly in just under 2 weeks.
No. Those people they're going to live in Israel when this is all done. It's just going to be Israel. Yeah, never mind. I'm not getting into the Israel thing today. United Airlines made a harrowing emergency landing after a mid-air fire erupted on a flight from Japan to the Philippines. Jay, when that happens.
A United Airlines flight has been evacuated at Kansai Airport in Japan today following an emergency landing. It's been reported that a message was displayed in the Boeing 737's cockpit indicating that a fire broke out in the cargo compartment of the aircraft. All passengers are said to have escaped the aircraft, with 2 people slightly injured. It was United Airlines Flight 32 from Tokyo's Narita Airport and was heading towards Cebu in the Philippines, but the aircraft was forced to divert to Osaka's Kansai Airport, where it landed safely at 7 p.m. local time. The aircraft involved was this 19-year-old Boeing 737-800 with the registration November 39297. The plane was cruising at 34,000 feet when the incident occurred. Flight tracking data shows that the plane made a turn back towards Japan over the Pacific Ocean, and once it landed, the plane stopped on the taxiway for around 20 minutes.
You know what really pisses me off is these particular people here on the right that, they talk comms all the time, and then when there's comms right in front of them, they're like retarded or something. Or I'm really frustrated at some of these people today, ripping on other people because they don't know what's going on. That's the point, first off. No shooter threat was ever found at the U.S. Naval Academy, though one person did get shot.
We want to get right to the latest updates from the Naval Academy this morning. Our Stephanie Davis is on your corner in Annapolis with the latest information.
That's right. It's a lot quieter on scene this morning. And as we've been here this morning, just a little bit ago, these gates to the U.S. Naval Academy has opened up, allowing cars to go in and out. And you can also see, those DoorDash deliveries that we were talking about yesterday. Well, they could not go past these gates because of that lockdown. You can see that they're all piling up here on the side. Officials here at the Naval Academy gave the all clear just after midnight to lift that lockdown. But now an investigation into what exactly happened is underway. But here is what we know so far. So a midshipman is recovering at Shock Trauma in Baltimore this morning after being injured yesterday during a police investigation of a suspicious activity alert. A helicopter overhead captured video of someone being taken out of the base onto a stretcher and medevac to Shock Trauma. Naval support activities say the person was injured while Naval security forces were clearing a building. Our media partners at...
So I picture a bunch of scared guys in military uniforms walking around with rifles looking for a shooter that wasn't ever there. And I'm assuming one accidentally shot the other. You know, I like guns, but not in the hands of stupid people. Kenvue CEO lobbied RFK Jr. not to cite Tylenol as a cause of autism. An attorney leading the litigation over claims Tylenol taken during pregnancy can cause autism in offspring said he would flag a statement from the HHS on the alleged connection to the U.S. Appeals Court, considering whether to revive the lawsuits. So is it safe or not?
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is downplaying reports that he is ready to announce a possible correlation between autism and one of the most popular pain relievers on the market. The Wall Street Journal reported late last week the Department of Health and Human Services is expected to link Tylenol taken during pregnancy to the developmental disorder. The report also says Kennedy will suggest a type of folic acid can treat autism. Secretary Kennedy was on Fox News yesterday morning and had this to say about the journal's reporting.
There are years and years of studies about that.
Tylenol seems like quite a jump from thimerosal. You know, we went from mercury and vaccines to Tylenol. I'm confused. Imagine you are too. Judge released a redacted document used to justify the search of John Bolton's home, and boy, is it redacted.
There's also news out of Washington. The affidavit for the search warrant into John Bolton's home has just been released. A lot of it is pretty heavily redacted. I mean, just pages of redactions like this.
Those kind of look familiar. Those look like papers that came out of the Biden administration.
Affidavit for the search warrant into John Bolton's home has just been released. A lot of it is pretty heavily redacted. I mean, just pages of
Look at that thing. Is that the transparent Trump White House? Come on now. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm really frustrated with everything right now. I'm so sick of playing this game. I am sick of playing this game. I refuse to play it anymore. Yet I still have to talk about this Charlie Kirk stuff. First, we're going to look at where we're at with hurricane season.
Good Thursday evening, everybody. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for the daily complete tropical update for the Atlantic Basin. And congratulations, we are now on the other side of the statistical peak of hurricane season, but we have half the season to go. So even though the first half for Houston, Galveston, and really for most of the U.S. has been quiet, The second half, you never know how it's going to play out. So we'll continue to take it just one day at a time. We are here September the 11th. So now we're officially on the downslope, even though we're just barely over the crest. It's kind of like going up a roller coaster, tick, 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 and now we're dropping back down the backside right there. And even though we're dropping, we still are in the statistical peak for the next month or so. Is statistically an active time for the Atlantic Basin. So far, Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Ferdinand, all tropical storms, all very weak, very short-lived tropical storms. Aaron, the only hurricane, is the outlier. It was a big outlier. It became a Cat 5, but missed all landmass. The center did not cross over any landmass, so good. It did not hurt.
You know, frankly, we're usually quite a ways down the list by now, so it's been a pretty mild season. They are eyeballing another storm out there in the Atlantic, but it'll be a little while. Mario Rubio's headed for Israel to talk Gaza and the strike on Qatar. It seems like the U.S. is finally starting to get a little fed up with what Israel's doing, since they are kind of bombing everybody at this point. Gaza, Yemen, Qatar. And that goes without even mentioning the fake false flags coming out of Ukraine, getting blamed on Russia. Russia's getting blamed with all kinds of crap. You'll see a story in a minute. NATO's going to launch an Eastern Sentry in response to the Russian drone attack on Poland. What the hell is that exactly? It will add flexibility and strength to our posture and make clear that as a defensive alliance, we are always ready to defend. Okay. Some people down in Venezuela, and I think I pointed this out yesterday, are claiming that the boats that Trump is striking are not even Tren de Aragua boats. You know what? I'm not so sure Trump cares. If they had drugs on the boat, he's going to blow it out of the water. Whether it's Tren de Araguas or MS-13s or Joe the Plumber, if you're bringing drugs into the country, they're going to blow you out of the water. And unless you're stupid, I don't believe the video was real anyway. I don't think anybody was blown out of the water. It was probably an AI video to scare you drug-running idiots, because, you know, we're kind of in an operation, so I don't think anyone is blown out of the fucking water, if you want my opinion. Nadine Mendez was sentenced to 4.5 years for her central role in political bribery scandal. She, the wife of Senator Bob Menendez.
It is sentencing day for the wife of disgraced former Senator Bob Menendez. Nadine Menendez was convicted in April of being part of a bribery scheme with her husband and 2 New Jersey businessmen. Lisa Rosner is live outside federal court in Lower Manhattan. Lisa.
Well, Cindy, the judge said he considered all factors in this case. Nadine Menendez's childhood trauma, her breast cancer diagnosis, and her charitable work. But he said she was a, quote, central participant. So he sentenced her to 4.5 years in prison, which is much less than the minimum sentencing guideline of 17.5 years. Now, we saw Nadine Menendez walk into court earlier this morning. She was wearing sunglasses and a mask, and in court, through tears, she talked.
Tears. You know what's bullshit? She committed a real crime here, a bribery scandal. 4.5 years. Tina Peters did her job, and she's serving 9 years. Just another bit of injustice for supper. Leaders of a Mexican megachurch were indicted in New York on federal sex trafficking charges. Making Christians look bad everywhere.
Accurate home. Leaders of a Mexican megachurch have been indicted on sex trafficking charges. Fox 11's Gina Silva right there in East LA with details. Gina, possibly decades of abuse we're talking about here?
Absolutely, Christine. Federal prosecutors say the head of the Mexican megachurch turned it into a criminal enterprise and victimized followers for decades.
Nason Joaquín García es mi escogido.
The subject of the Netflix and HBO documentaries is now the target of the federal government. Nason Joaquín García, leader of the megachurch La Luz del Mundo, who is already serving 16 years in prison for sexually abusing young followers, has just been federally indicted along with 5 others, 3 women and 2 men.
The feds came in. I think there should be an extra special spot in hell for people that abuse children in the name of Christianity. What do you guys think? Special spot in hell? I think that sounds appropriate. Ghislaine Maxwell. A trove of emails reveals Ghislaine Maxwell's secrets. What's her secret? She loved Jeffrey Epstein.
Newly uncovered emails are shedding more light on Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with his convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. NBC's Hallie Jackson has details.
New insight into the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell from a trove of purported emails, more than 18,000 published by Bloomberg News, which suggests Maxwell and Epstein were closer in many respects than either publicly admitted. In her July interview with the Deputy Attorney General, Maxwell, Epstein's convicted co-conspirator, recounts asking Epstein about the initial investigation into him.
Now, wait a minute, MSNBC. Hold up, because 2 days ago you reported about Trump having a gay relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, how can he have a gay relationship with Jeffrey Epstein if Jeffrey Epstein, according to these emails you unearthed, was madly in love with Ghislaine Maxwell? Could he have been dating Trump and Maxwell? Or are you guys just fucking stupid? They make they make it too easy. They're making it too easy, right? They're making it too fucking easy. UC Berkeley shares 160 names with the Trump administration and what the news calls a McCarthy-era move. Well, they did, Michelle. They did.
UC Berkeley and other campuses.
The Department of Education Office of Civil Rights is handling the case. KTVU's Devin Truby joins us live with more details. Devin?
Yeah, good morning. The university now providing personal information as the investigation continues, turning over the list of names of about 160 students, staff, faculty, some even alumni now after the pro-Palestine protests on campus more than a year ago. Now, this is all being reported by the Daily Californian for the latest of what's happening in this investigation. The information was turned over for the Office of Legal Affairs, and those that had their information submitted received an official notice saying that their names were in documents provided for this investigation. That's why this is what the chancellor had to say back in July on Capitol Hill defending the university's work.
I'm surprised with stuff like this story, people aren't all like living in paranoia world. Sad thing is, everyone is living in paranoia world, and it's really their own fault because they post everything on social media. They're all watching us. Somebody must have been watching you at UC Berkeley because they submitted your name in for being an anti-Semite because you protested Palestine. You know, I protested Israel too here on the channel for a little bit. Does that make me an anti-Semite, or does that just make the news retarded even more? Russia and Belarus face terror label in the United States over abducted Ukrainian children. Boy, I think we've touched on this story before, but let's do it again.
Could Russia land on America's terror list? A bipartisan group of U.S. senators is trying to make that happen. In the war between Russia and Ukraine, one of the darkest chapters has been the mass kidnapping of Ukrainian children. Scripps News was the first to report on the stolen babies of Kherson, and we've been tracking the story ever since. Now on Capitol Hill, a new push to put Moscow on America's official list of state sponsors of...
So am I to understand there's 20,000 missing babies in Ukraine and they're just now talking about it? Yeah, I call bullshit there. If there's 20,000 anything missing in Ukraine, it's probably because the Ukrainian military hijacked them right off their own streets, threw them in vans, and took them to fight the Russians. That could be where your kids went. As for your missing babies, well, in case you didn't know, in Ukraine, they're really big on black market organs. So they probably cut your babies to pieces, took their organs, and then sold them on the black market. Anything else you want to blame Russia for? No. Okay. That's good. Moving right along here. Trump can block Medicaid funds to defund Planned Parenthood, according to a court ruling today.
A United States appeals court has allowed the Trump administration to block Medicaid funds to Planned Parenthood while a legal fight continues. The ruling yesterday means more than 1.1 million patients can't use Medicaid at its health centers. In July, a federal judge had ordered clinics nationwide to keep getting reimbursement as Planned Parenthood challenges efforts to defund the organization.
I'm so sorry. If you're going to kill your baby, you're going to have to pay for it. And after all, you probably have the money because it's not like you're going to raise a baby or anything, right? Win one for the Trump admin. Pay for your own fucking abortion. Boeing defense workers are rejecting a contract and their striking continues. I feel like this strike has gone on forever. I'm surprised they didn't just fire him already.
Striking Boeing workers reject the company's contract offer. This morning, the IAM 837 union held a vote, and 57% of people rejected the 5-year deal. Fox 2's Chad Mira joins us now live. Chad, what is the main sticking point for all these folks here today?
There are a few main points that people are still talking about. A union representative pointed out that this latest offer didn't include what they called a sufficient signing bonus. That currently stands at $4,000, but it was higher in previous proposals. Also, they're saying that it doesn't include an increase.
The rejects rejected a contract. I don't know. I'm still mad at some of these Trumpers. I'm getting to them. I'm coming to you. I did not forget you. Some of you are just an absolute disgrace after today, including you, Nino. Missouri lawmakers give final approval to the map targeting a Democratic House seat. They passed the map.
And we kick things off at 4 with a live look over the Missouri state capitol. Just hours ago, the Senate passed a plan to redraw the state's congressional maps. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brent Solomon.
And I'm Ann Allred. The plan now heads to Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe's desk to be signed into law. The new map could make it easier for a Republican to win a House seat in the Kansas City area, giving Republicans an advantage of 7 of 8 congressional seats.
What happened to Illinois redrawing the map that they already redrew once upon a time? Maybe they're afraid it'll make it a little more fair for Republicans. Some of this stuff's just too funny. Oh, Chucky Schumer. This guy, I swear. Government shutdown draws near as Democrats push for health care funding. We're not paying for your abortions.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is willing to risk a government shutdown at the end of the month if Republicans don't accept Democratic demands on health care. Schumer told the Associated Press he and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries oppose any legislation that doesn't include key health care provisions and a commitment not to roll them back.
House and Senate Democrats are in total agreement. What the Republicans are proposing is not good enough for the American people.
If you take away their funding, then how will Chuck Schumer's husband get his testosterone? could use the millions of dollars he corruptly made as a, congressman. Trump admin asked appeals court to allow firing of Lisa Cook before Fed meeting. As if he won't do it anyway.
A busy hour, more so. We have more news out of Washington, D.C. Megan Casella has it for us at the White House. Megan?
Scott, that's right. We're just learning that the Trump administration is asking the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit to allow the firing of Lisa Cook to proceed before next week's Federal Reserve meeting. Now, you'll remember there's been, of course, a lot of legal back and forth in this case in the past several days. But it was yesterday when the Trump administration formally appealed to the D.C. court to let that attempted firing proceed. Now they're filing this emergency motion for a stay pending appeal and an administrative stay. And
I got to hand it to Trump. He's got some patience of a saint. He's really trying to do it the legal way. He could probably tell these small courts to go stick it, but he seems to be playing their court game. But I get it. The law is important. If he doesn't follow the law, we've got no law when it's left. It's just funny how in other areas they set up the fake executions of people like Charlie Kirk to do what they're doing. U.S. joins the UN Security Council condemnation of Israel's strikes on Qatar. Are we finally going to see an angry America?
Israel is facing international criticism over its recent strikes claiming to target Hamas leadership in Doha. At the UN Security Council meeting, ally United States joined the chorus of nations, including Russia and China, to condemn the strike. This comes as Israel stood firm, vowing to target terrorists in any country of the world, condemning Israeli strikes on Qatar's capital.
What's funny is people are connecting the Charlie Kirk thing to Israel when really it might just be about something completely different. And we'll look at that in a minute. Just getting tired of talking about Charlie Kirk. Ebola vaccine reaches the epicenter of Congo's outbreak as officials race to contain the disease. Yes. Yet another Ebola outbreak in the Congo.
The Democratic Republic of Congo declared a new outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus on Thursday, with more than a dozen deaths recorded. The health ministry said samples tested on Wednesday had confirmed the...
Isn't it funny they want to tell you about those dozen people that died of Ebola in Congo, but not the 20,000 that were chopped to pieces with machetes because they were Christians? Yeah, I don't want to tell you that story. I know because I do the news. And a man in Indiana has grown the world's tallest sunflowers in honor of Ukraine.
All right, well, taking care of plants and flowers in a garden is hard enough as it is, but what if your flowers were more than 35 feet tall?
Jeez.
Take a look at this. Yes, it's the world's tallest sunflower. In fact, it is a full 5 feet taller than the previous Guinness World Record. It's growing in a backyard in Fort Wayne, Indiana. The owner named it Clover, and he needs a huge ladder to get to the top of it.
I wonder what kind of fertilizer he uses.
I don't know. Searching for a vase as well.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. News is covered, Mr. Daly. What you got on Pop Strap?
35 foot tall, huh? Guess what I'm doing next summer. And the new detention camp in Texas is being called a tent.
In the summer heat of the Chihuahuan Desert, a city made of tents is springing up in West Texas. It is being built by a company called Acquisition Logistics to hold as many as 5,000 migrants.
The builder, which is getting more than $1 billion taxpayer dollars, is also the operator of the facility, though it has no experience running a detention center, much less one of this size. Jason Allen takes a closer look.
The long white tents, visible to anyone driving across East El Paso, are intended to grow into the biggest immigration holding facility in U.S. history. Representative Veronica Escobar has been inside twice.
This appears to be a giant
tent city. That's all we can see from the outside, but what is it like inside?
That's what it is. A giant tent city. There are hard floors, there are walls that go up probably about 3/4 of the way to the ceiling.
Escobar said she saw about 1,500 people inside during her last visit 2 weeks ago. The government awarded Acquisition Logistics a $1.25 billion contract to build and operate the detention center.
Instead, they put up a tent. Somebody needs to look into that. I mean, I've never seen a tent that cost $1.5 billion, but who am I to judge tents? Oh, all the Koreans got home. Took them from that, Hyundai plant in Georgia. Gave them a plane ride home. And what are they doing? They're bitching.
Hundreds of South Korean workers detained over alleged visa violations in the U.S. during a massive immigration raid on a Hyundai plant in Georgia last week have returned home this morning. CBS News foreign correspondent Anna Coren is following these developments for us from Hong Kong and joins us now. Anna, good morning. I'm wondering what kind of reaction there has been in South Korea to this incident and if these folks are being welcomed back home.
Well, Errol, as you can imagine, after a rather shocking ordeal, over the past week, more than 300 South Korean workers touched down at Seoul's Incheon airport this afternoon to cheers, celebration and certainly relief. But there was also an overwhelming sense of resentment and anger towards the United States. As we recall, last Thursday in the U.S. state of Georgia, Homeland Security carried out what it called the biggest worksite raid in the department's history. Of course, it's all part of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. The raid, however, was on a battery plant, a joint venture.
We're friends with you, South Korea. We just don't want your citizens here. I mean, legally, but basically they just freed up like 300 jobs for Americans. Oh, God, we're here. So apparently people are putting out some AI images of the alleged shooter. God, I feel like such a chode talking about this. Some people are saying, well, we're not so sure about the picture on the left. It kind of doesn't even look like the guy on the right, but we're going to put it up anyway. And then we're going to yell at other people for putting up fake pictures while we put up more potentially fake pictures. There's the dude, real pictures. Not a trans. Isn't it funny how stupid people are? I'm sorry. I'm going to use the word stupid quite a bit here. Got all that stuff. It's a trans shooter. It's a trans shooter. People were saying it when they still had the wrong shooter in custody. And don't forget they had 2 wrong shooters in custody. And I hate to tell you, but there's some problems with the 3rd guy they've got in custody. Not to mention their story doesn't add up worth the 2 shits. They should really get better at faking this shit because, damn. I mean, damn. Like, damn. You have the guy jumping off the roof with nothing in his hands, but that they found a Mauser 30-06 in the woods. How did that get there? All right. I will give you the latest from the media to start.
We got him. Utah's governor finally announcing those words our country was waiting for. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. The 3-day manhunt for Charlie Kirk's suspected killer comes to an end. The suspect identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Officials saying Robinson's father recognized him as the person of interest and told his son to turn himself in. They say Robinson refused at first, but later changed his mind and was arrested with the help of the family's youth pastor, who is also a U.S. Marshals Task Force officer. It all happened in St. George, Utah, about 2.
You know what's funny is those pictures that they just showed that were put up of the suspect, those were put out by people, not even the cops. Somehow there were people putting out blurred images turned into AI images before the cops even released their pictures. Isn't that odd?
160 miles from where Kirk was killed. Authorities say Robinson was perched on a rooftop more than 100 yards from Kirk when he fired that single shot at the conservative activist as he was speaking on the campus of Utah Valley University. They say family members describe Robinson as becoming more political in recent years and had talked with his family about not liking Kirk's views. 31-year-old.
Well, they do need to get better at faking shit, Michelle. For crying out loud, this is a ridiculous job. Here's what the new neighbors of the fake shooter said.
Very quiet family. I know there was several cars that frequented there, that lived there. I'm under the impression maybe there's a couple younger children. He may have a couple younger brothers that live there, that his parents were active in the LDS community.
You heard that? The neighbors saw cars. He was a Mormon. There's that. Though I don't believe that has anything to do with it. Could have sworn he was transgender.
Authorities have made an arrest in the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. They've identified the gunman as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson.
That Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
And at a news conference, law enforcement officials described multiple pieces of evidence that they say connect Mr. Robinson to the killing. One of those pieces of evidence happens to be engravings on bullet casings that the authorities found in a rifle that they believe was used in the shooting. Another piece of evidence relates to messages that were on a chatting app that a roommate shared with law enforcement. It's also worth noting that it was the father of
Discord, and yet Discord claims that didn't happen. And let me tell you something about Discord. They catch on to that shit pretty quick, and they'll kick your ass off there pretty quick, too. And if they say that conversation didn't happen, I'm inclined to believe it didn't happen. The family of the guy that was wrongfully arrested.
The manhunt for Charlie Kirk's killer stretches into another day. Authorities looking for this person of interest they need help identifying. But as police continue their search,
we located a couple of persons of interest.
A North Texas family who calls this 25-year-old their son says the search for truth has already cost them.
And after clearing them of being suspects, they face scrutiny. They face threats.
Those threats, the scrutiny, underscored by Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason Thursday, fell part...
Well, no shit, you dumb sons of bitches. You blurred their faces all over television and called them the killers of Charlie Kirk. You just fucked up their lives. Talk about a shit show. Stephen King responded to a fake... message that was supposedly from Charlie Kirk that supposedly said gays should be stoned, and then he bits Charlie Kirk out and then figured out it was a fake message. You guys might want to think about, before you go off on social media, that what you're looking at very well is probably fake, because everything's fake on social media. That's why I wouldn't even do social media if I were you, but Stephen King, your books aren't even worth the time it would take to rip the pages out and wipe my ass with them. All right, let's get into the beef of this. President Trump talks about paid protesters and George Soros, stating, "I think it's a RICO case against him and other people. We're way past understanding that Soros is behind paid protesters, but Q asked Anons the following in one, if the most revealing declassifications to the public, a public skiff. Why is Antifa allowed to operate? Why hasn't the Muslim Brotherhood been classified as a terrorist organization? Because they're running our media right now. What happens if Soros-funded operations get violent and engage in domestic terrorism? What happens if mayors, police comms, and chiefs do not enforce the law? Well, they get feds that have to come in. What must be completed to engage military intelligence over the three-letter agencies during the 50s and 60s. Federal troops federalized National Guard. And Anon commented, ha ha ha. Trump has had military intelligence infiltrate Antifa and all the dissenting local governments. Always 5 steps ahead. Well, so far, he's not declared Antifa a terrorist organization yet. All this leading up to something big. Big things take time. How long did the RICO operation take regarding the New York Mafia? Could it be that while people think this is all about getting at Israel, that maybe it's more about getting at the Muslim Brotherhood, which has been controlling a lot since 2008, thanks to that piece of shit they call Barack Obama that, ran our country for a while. So, rather than this being about the election, which I don't know, could be, because that was what Juan specifically said on Nino, unless you think he was, wrong there, but it's almost 8 o'clock here on Friday, and they said something was going to happen this week, so I'm pretty sure that card game they were having was specifically talking about Charlie Kirk getting shot, but don't care if you want to believe that or not. Trump said in 2020 they'd be designating Antifa as a terrorist organization, but never did. But what if Tyler Robinson was affiliated with Antifa? His gun even had things written on it that specifically tie in to Antifa. And then there's the number comms. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Later, in less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, the suspect was apprehended. For 33 hours, I was praying if something had to happen, it wouldn't be one of the blah, blah, blah. Time of this conference, Kirk was killed approximately 46.5 hours ago. When they said they caught the suspect last night at 10 p.m. after the 8 p.m. press conference, equates to approximately 33.3 hours. Where am I at? I lost my spot. He did write Antifa phrases on the bullet casings. Hey, fascists. Oh, Bella Ciao. Oh, Bella Ciao. According to Andy No, who's covered Antifa for years, these lyrics are to an old Italian protest song now used by Antifa as a theme song. So, what if Charlie Kirk's death was faked to get feds in there to infiltrate this stuff? Or maybe they're already infiltrated and they're just going deeper. I don't know how to specifically look at it, but Juan, he's talking more election stuff. Of course, if you listen to Nino this morning, you're probably really confused. Isn't it weird? They get on a show and give you comms and then they backtrack. There were a lot of messages like that, like this one. Let's say something big will happen tomorrow at the event, from somebody named Omar. Muslim Brotherhood, that ties into Hamas. People thought this was about Israel. Maybe you are completely off. Why isn't Antifa allowed to operate? Why isn't Yeah, we read that. Muslim Brotherhood. They don't talk about that much, do they? It's Obama stuff. Here's another guy that was spotted in the crowd with a gun. Of course. Oh, nice. Of course, Utah, you are allowed to carry there, and you are allowed to carry on that particular campus. So it may be that these people had the right to carry. And that may be where the confusion came with the early arrests. It may have been people that they saw in the audience with guns. If I had been carrying, I'd have probably pulled my gun out. There's a guy right there. He shows you. He's running away with a revolver in his hand. Does that mean he's the one that shot? No. Again, it's a concealed area. It's hard telling. It's really hard telling. I guarantee you, though, those guys in the crowd, if something did go... And here's another funny thing. The feds even claimed they had people in the audience. Why? Why would the feds have people, undercover people in the audience? Does that normally happen at a Charlie Kirk event? They normally have feds in the crowd, undercover. Not to mention Charlie Kirk's bodyguards there that people kept poking at and saying, oh, look, this is the guy giving signals. Well, no, that was Charlie Kirk's bodyguard. And standing behind Charlie, he would have to be the worst bodyguard on the planet to not see a guy standing on the roof. So they really got to work harder on these fake things they do. Here's the guy jumping off the roof. Now, he's got something in his hand for sure, but it doesn't look like a Mauser 30-06. And I do have a closer view. We're going to... a little bit closer. Looks like he's carrying a shirt, maybe. Jumps down. It's a jacket. And somebody said, well, maybe he's got the rifle tucked in his pants. Yeah. And I'm the dumbass? There's no rifle tucked in his pants. He just bent his body in a 90-degree way to get off that roof. There's no rifle in his pants. There's no rifle in his hands. There's no rifle anywhere. Did he leave it on the roof? Well, maybe. But how'd it get in the woods? They came on and said, we found a Mauser 30-06 in the woods. There's no rifle in his hands. There's no rifle. There's no rifle. There's no rifle. Looks like he left something on the roof. You see him bending there? I guarantee you he's not got a rifle tucked in his pants. So, anybody got an answer for that one? How'd the rifle get in the woods? Now let's talk about the black dot. The black dot thing, well, it is kind of dumb, but for MJ to be calling people dumb really pisses me off, frankly, because this shit's confusing for people. And clearly he's confused as all fuck because he was back and forth. And sadly, a lot of these guys on Telegram lately, it's been shit. SG Anon's page has gone to shit. And MJ Truth's page is going to shit. But I'll show you what he has to say here.
All right, fam. So I'm going to try to narrate this as best as possible. It does not show the graphic parts. It stops before that point. So that's fine. So what you're seeing on Charlie's right side of his shirt, where you see a little wrinkle coming up, that is either a microphone or a clip or just something attached to it. And one of his team members did say that, you know, they do things for YouTube, so it's possibly, a secondary microphone. And then what you see as I slow it down is that there's an impact on his, it looks like his left top portion near his heart, a portion near his heart lifts up as if there was some kind of an impact.
A couple things here. Number one, even if that is possibly a microphone on his shirt there, there's no wire connected to any lavalier microphones in 2025. That's not the problem with this video, though. The problem with this video is, if you'll notice there, he's already got a dot on his neck, and it's there before his shirt even flies up.
And then, of course, you see, what happened after that. But as you see the dot shift, that clip shift, I slowed it down enough to where you can see to where it looks like it gets close to his right chin, and then it disappears. Okay? And then it shifts back again to where you see just a little tinier black dot. That is where the hole was into his shirt. It's like a little lapel thing that clips onto his shirt. That is from that. I'm 100% certain of that. So anybody showing you some stupid videos and saying that it's magic AI, the AI dot, they're just dishonoring him right now, and it's just bullshit.
You're bullshit, MJ Truth, and you've dishonored yourself, and you're a disgrace to the Patriot community, frankly, by sitting there calling patriots, trying to discern this shit dumb. I'm so pissed at these people. And you can see him going back and forth. 1 minute a video comes up and he thinks, oh, it was real. Oh, it was fake. Oh, it was real. Oh, it was fake. And now that I think it was real, you're all dumbasses for thinking it was fake. Yeah, well, up yours, buddy. You've dishonored yourself. That being said, the people of New Zealand, they properly honored the still alive Charlie Kirk with haka. That's how I want honored when I go. I want haka'd when I die. I mean, that's an honor right there. You got haka'd, Charlie, and you're not even dead. All right, couple other little stories here. Tyler Robinson was raised Mormon and allegedly killed Charlie Kirk moments after influencer praised the church. Bullshit. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth tells staff to find and identify military members and any individuals associated with the Pentagon who have mocked or appeared to condone Charlie Kirk's murder so they can be punished, according to two defense officials. Probably shouldn't have ever hired scumbags like that if you really can't trust your own workers. One more bit of news before we go to Derek. Legal alien who was released from ICE custody by the Biden admin just beheaded a motel manager in East Dallas. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Police say a 37-year-old is facing a capital murder charge for allegedly beheading a man at a Dallas motel.
Happened at a motel on Samuel Boulevard near I-30 and Dolphin Road shortly after 9 this morning. Video captured police arresting a man covered in blood just down the road. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has the very latest tonight. Peyton.
Steve, and we're still waiting at this hour at 9 p.m. for that suspect to be booked into the Dallas County Jail. Meanwhile, witnesses who saw this graphic attack tell me there was some type of argument, some type of altercation before the suspect pulled out a knife, and that's when people at this motel began calling 911. Newly obtained cell phone video shows Dallas police officers handcuffing a man on the ground. He's wearing a white T-shirt with blood on it. Wednesday evening, Dallas police announced 37-year-old Yordanis Cobos Martinez was charged with murder.
Probably should have kept him in jail, but yeah. Now we're going to take a look at the Derek Johnson opinion on all of this, and mainly because there's not really much else on tonight, but and somehow I have a feeling he might back the real narrative. But I'm going to tell you this one last time. Juan told you twice this week that what you saw was a movie. You've seen a lot of movies. You've seen a lot of fake news coming out of the left and the right for a reason. I don't think they blew up drug boats. I don't think Charlie Kirk got killed. I would bet you whatever money I've got in my pocket, which probably doesn't exist, the man's alive. It was an operation. They told you 2 days before it happened that it was going to happen. Anyone else saying otherwise is either not paying attention, they're playing on emotion, or they're just simply trying to fool you. Alrighty, Patriots. There you go. I see the audience is, still a little 60-30 on the issue. I just don't, I don't see it. I think the comms were there all along. Juan and Nino first told you on the show. They've told you again today. Kash Patel's told you. The clues were right there for everyone to see. I don't know how it gets much clearer than all that. Somebody even posted it again. That time Juan said Valhalla. I'll play the whole video for you. It's a couple minutes long. You can hear maybe there's something else in there that'll help. Where did I put it? There it is.
Long and short of it is that you're on his stage. The choice of the exact location for an interview like that and what the backdrop is not an accident. Any more than actually having an aircraft painted, a model with very specific colors, and then placing it prominently in the Oval Office. And then upon leaving the Oval Office, put it right smack at the entrance to Mar-a-Lago is the very first thing that you see when you enter Mar-a-Lago. And by the way, decorating the Christmas tree your first year in office, exactly as the Christmas tree was decorated in 1961, as President Kennedy celebrated Christmas for the first time in the White House. Why? Because you're drawing symbology, what was taken away from the world, not just America, is going to be restored. That evil, that wrong. See, the world's future was stolen from it, and by this cult, this club. And the seminal event that captured the whole world's attention in this trauma-based programming operation was the assassination of the president. The whole world watched the theater of that event. Even the grave site, I've done something interesting, extensive, kind of a decode, if you will, with Jennifer Mack. And what is the shape over the gravesite? You see the sidewalks going around, and the gravesite with the entrance walkway where the eternal flame is running at the center of the gravesite. That's shaped in the shape of the 17th letter of the alphabet. They sealed the gravesite with that or you look at it from overhead. So when you look at this current fight and the symbology being used, moving forward, numbers are everything. Are we going to break free of that symbology in that gravesite, that torch? Yeah. And that's why you have the aircraft painted in the colors. The sun was a threat. You know, when you hide, you go into witness protection. There's different ways you can create an identity. It's much easier to have a shared identity. And so that's something that's commonly done. And do you allow them free somewhere, or do they go to what we call Valhalla, some holding place that's not able to be in communication with the rest of the world, but as a community? And then you can bring them out later on. And, you know, can hide in plain sight or not.
It's a place where they're not in touch with the rest of the world, but a community that they call Valhalla. Kash Patel said he would see you there, Charlie. You know, it's just, I think there's too many comms there. I get why people are leery of it and don't want to talk about it. And man, my numbers have been going down on YouTube lately. Of course, they make them go down anyway. There's always a larger number of views in front of me, and then it's way lower afterwards. But anyway, you know, I don't know how it could be any clearer, but it doesn't matter. There's people that just aren't going to believe it, and it really doesn't matter right now. It sounds like the point is going to lead to designating Antifa a terrorist organization. And if they connect Antifa to the Muslim Brotherhood, then it starts getting really interesting. So we will see. I think Derek was right on another point too about that 200 yards. I mean, do you really see that goofy guy just hopping up on the roof, running up there, making that 200-yard shot? I don't even think it lined up perfectly from where he was on the roof, is what you could see, and where it hit in the side of the neck. It just didn't even... A lot of things that were there. As for the ring, his ring was a ring that had a clasp. You could clasp it to close it. It did clasp on and off. It was a different kind of ring, but it still jumped fingers. I mean, it completely jumped fingers. It wasn't like it flipped open and kind of... I know sometimes he flips it open himself, but... Anyway, that's the last of what I have to say about Charlie Kirk. Tomorrow we're moving on, turning the page. We'll see where the president plans on taking this particular situation, and we will talk like it happened. We will talk tomorrow just as if Charlie Kirk died and it led to something, because that's what we have to do here, apparently. But it's just the sucky side of this side of things, guys. We're in a media war. I'm telling you, don't trust anything you read right now without looking into it. Don't glimpse the headlines unless you're prepared to read the article, and don't read the article unless you're prepared to dive into the subject, because it's all sketchy right now. Doesn't matter what you're looking at. Don't believe any of it. Don't fall for it. Don't buy into it. Don't believe it. Don't pay attention to it, really. That's all I got to say about that. It's been a good Friday, Patriots. This is where we're going to wrap up tonight. If you haven't watched the interview from last night, I really recommend you go do it. It was a great interview. We touched on a lot of things. Sunday, please come and check out the Mark Cook interview. I'm telling you, this guy is awesome. He's highly connected to some crazy things to do with election security, election integrity, some high-tech stuff, and as far as my understanding, he's the one that came in and copied that stuff for Tina Peters, so I could be wrong about that. That's what I was told, at least, but, you know. Anyway, he's got a great story. They tried to take him out at some point. So we will dive into that Sunday. Tomorrow will be a normal day. We'll see what's going down in the news. Charlie Kirk's overshadowed everything. Some channels haven't even been doing the news lately. You guys, you know, there's like 50 of you here, maybe 100 that overappreciate me, and then the rest of you, you totally underappreciate me. And I just say that because I was watching some other channels today, and damn. If you want to stay away from something, stay away from the channels that are sensationalizing the news. The ones that come on the second a story breaks and they've got the headline up and it says breaking news. Yeah, stay away from those channels. It's a bunch of crap, and it's, you know, they're taking the story, they're sensationalizing the story. It's all spec. It's a lot of people arguing. It's just, I don't know. I'm not going to do that crap. You're not going to see me come on instantly when something happens. I could have come on the second Charlie Kirk was shot and been like, breaking news. And I'm not doing it. Not going to do it. Not doing it. I'll be on at the same time every night, and we will look into things at that point in depth without bebopping around. But anyway, I do love you, Patriots. It's a hard time in the Patriot community right now, so try and avoid the divisiveness, avoid arguing with each other. I know there's people that really enjoy the arguing in these chats and other social media. It's like, it's a bad time for that. We got to keep things solid. I was really afraid this would divide the community further, but so far it's not as bad as the Trump assassination attempt fiasco. Do you think we've grown somewhat numb to this stuff? Because it seems like what happened to President Kennedy lived on for decades, and that was probably one of the most violent things people had seen in their lives on TV, and now it's like every day, and people are almost numb to it, aren't they? I don't know. Whew. Falling apart. I'm in a better mood now. It's tiring, Gingeru. I was trying to go through stuff today, and even mainstream media was all over Charlie Kirk. There was a bunch of stories breaking that they didn't even cover, that nobody covered, and Everything was off completely. And it was fine till I start seeing people calling each other stupid for thinking this or dumbass for thinking that. It's like, that's what we're here to do, basically, is think. It's a lot of thinking and processing and theorizing and speculating. And that's because right now, nobody's going to give you a straight answer. Unfortunately, we do the best we can. We work together and we do the best we can. That's what we got, Patriots. So, yeah, the day's about over. I do love the haka thing, you know. If I die, guys, you gotta haka me. I want you all to get together and haka me. I want to see all of you. Maybe instead of an outro video, we should hawk out of here every night. I know, Thor. I was on that mode today too. Tired of the game, tired of the bullshit. I don't want to play anymore, you know, like here people are trying to pull you one way and someone else is trying to lead you the other way, and you know, I prayed on it a few times and I'm like, I'm gonna go my way. I'm gonna go my own way and figure it out on my own. It's, you know, you want to believe this person, you want to believe that person, but as far as, you know, I really think Juan was trying to tell us. I don't know if Nino was in on the not understanding part. He said he knew what it was, so maybe he did, maybe he thought he did. I don't know, but they tried to tell you the best they could, so it's exhausting for sure. It's mentally exhausting. It's you can be as tough as you want through all this stuff. It's still it's mentally exhausting in a world where we're physically exhausted on top of it. We're drained, but you know what? We're coming to the end. We are coming to the end. I very much believe that. It would not surprise me in the least to see some arrests come within the next month. I don't see how it couldn't be with where they're going with things. Trump's doing good, like I said, exhausting the legal routes and everything. He's putting up with all these lower courts. He's a patient man. God bless him. I'll tell you what. Yeah. I think we've all lost our patience for it. But we don't have a choice, do we? That's the problem. We have to push on, not just for ourselves and for our sanity, but for the country, for the kids, for the children, for the future, for the stability of the nation. This process right now is foundation building to the fullest extent, and if it's not solid, anything can go wrong in the future. Even Derek even touched on that point, that, you know, it's Trump knows he's not going to be around forever. They need people leading the charge everywhere, every aspect of everything that you can think of. So keep up the good fight, Patriots. Doesn't matter how you fight, just keep fighting. Whether you're putting out the positive energy or the kindness, or you're helping people or doing this work or that work, just keep going. We're getting there. We're almost there. Yeah. Canada, yeah, I mean, this event was a big eye-opener, but whatever is coming, there's going to be something else coming that's going to be even bigger. That's going to be eye-opening on a world level, I assume, from the way Juan talks about it, and this near-death experience. That's a even different aspect of it. And they're setting the stage right now. But this overshadowed the news with Russia and Poland and Lithuania. They're trying to blame Russia for everything. We could see a huge conflict break out there, anywhere, and we're getting in the middle of it. Same with Israel right now. They're starting to push a little bit. Gaza, Qatar, Yemen. I mean, Qatar was pushing it a little bit because Qatar was specifically helping in peace negotiations along with Egypt. So they pushed it a little bit when they did that. You could see a conflict break out there where America gets put into a side. I don't know what it'll be, how exactly it'll go, but, you know, whatever you thought of what happened the other day, you should be prepared to see more. Like it or not, it's something's going to happen. It's going to snap the rest of people out of it. There'll be resistance, but, you know, I also think about what Trump's doing right now. Think about if he can call Antifa a terrorist organization, if he puts that label forward. A lot of the rioting they're worried about when they make arrests is going to come from Antifa. And I think this is a great move. It gives them the chance to stop these people before they ever get started on some level. It gives them a chance to stop their funding and stop the people funding them. So, and I don't know that, I'm not going to pretend like I know the entire depth of all that, but I think that's somewhat where it's going, you know, and it might be a great move to keep the rioting down in our cities at a point. Hey, Maria. I haven't seen you in a while. So that's my thoughts, guys. You know, we're going to be okay. Trump's a smart guy. It's, you know, he gets so much crap on TikTok right now. The left's not even paying attention to things. They're still yelling, put out the files. I guarantee you they have not even looked at the Jeffrey Epstein files that were put out in the past 2 weeks. And they're saying, put out the files, put out the files. Go look at the files, you know. They're not going to do it. They're not going to find Trump in there. And that's exactly why the left is pushing every narrative they can. Oh, there's a gay birthday card. Yeah, Trump wrote a gay birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm Mariah Carey. Yeah. I don't know. Stupid stuff, but you can expect more of it. They've got nothing. It's sad. It's getting sadder by the minute. The people on the left, they see it. There's a lot of decent people on the left that saw what other people on the left were saying about Charlie Kirk's situation, and it woke them up, and they said, wow, I'm not that. I don't want to be that. Is that what I am? Is that what I'm a part of? I don't want to be that. And you're seeing some of them starting to say, I'm moving a little over closer to the center, or now I'm moving over to the right. And more little things like that are going to happen, where they're going to look at what's happening in the Democrat Party and they're going to say, what the hell am I wrapped up in? And no, the right was never any better, but I don't look at left and right anymore. I see Trump and liberals, left and right, call it what you will. To me, it's just there's patriots and people that aren't patriots. They might think they're patriots, but everybody's got a different idea of what's best for the country. But, we've got a pretty good idea of what's common decency and morality, how to treat one another. People don't act like that as much in public now, do they? You see how people act on social media? I bet if you took like a dozen people that were biting each other's heads off on social media, put them in a room together and didn't tell them who each other was, they'd all be sitting there getting along, having a cup of coffee, Social media is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's the worst part of the internet by far. Great for learning if you use it for that, but the rest of the internet, shit. Pure shit. But we're gonna get through it. It's all being exposed. We'll get together tomorrow and expose them more. You have a hairy upper lip? Well, I shaved, but my hair is just so thin these days. I always had long hair and longer hair, and I used to have hair, and then there was politics, I got lazy. I don't even, I used to buy contacts and things, and I just, you get to a point where it's just, not to mention when you're so broke as it is, you get to a point where it's like, yeah. Pass the pipe, you say, Mr. Kane? Your children are asleep, pass the pipe, right? Well, on that note, I mean, I guess we can haka our way out of here, right? I'm serious. You guys better haka me if I die. Is there a better honor on the planet than that? When you get these New Zealanders all round up for this, I mean, come on. And you can't get the New Zealanders to do it either. You guys have to do it if I die. You got to get together. All of you have to get together yourselves in Haka. You're going to make a video yourselves. Oh, man. Those guys know how to have fun, right? I picture Charlie Kirk in a room somewhere laughing at that. Don't you? He's got a big ass smile on his face. Craziness. GoFundMe yanks fundraiser for suspected shooter. Well, that's good. Uh-oh. I see some breaking news here. 7.1 magnitude earthquake has jolted Russia's Kamchatka. Another tsunami warning has been issued. Dun 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 dun. There's some big earthquakes are getting up in Kamchatka. It all depends on how deep it was before they start calling their tsunami warnings. Reported the quake at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers. Ugh. That is somewhat shallow. That's not good. Come on now. The 8.0 or the 8.8 that happened was 35 kilometers deep. This one is 10 kilometers. It's quite a bit more shallow, which makes for quite a bit more likelihood of a tsunami. But that is still fairly deep in and of itself. Well, the New Madrid's been pretty quiet, Vance. That's a mystery to me, and I really like mysteries, but, you know, where the New Madrid is it's pretty unnatural. There's no fault. It's not a fault unless there's something missing there. There's a missing piece of that puzzle. Unless there's, you know, more of a fault to with the Mississippi. I don't know. And I know there is another plate that's getting pressed up under the United States, and it probably kind of puts pressure on the central point of the largest plate on the planet, which dead center is where the New Madrid falls. So some act like that's a sort of weakness in the halfway point of the plate, but that's somewhat of an anomaly. It's unheard of. It's maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yep. Well, I guess unless you're on the West Coast or in Hawaii, you can sleep sound tonight. But 10 kilometers, that could be. I mean, it could be tunnel, you know. That other earthquake was 35 kilometers, or about, I think they said 22 miles. But 10 kilometers it's fairly shallow for an earthquake. They can be even higher up than that, but yeah, it creates a higher likelihood for tsunamis, but there's a lot of factors to that situation. So anyway, I'm mumbling now, and we have hocked and hocked again, and I think we're going to hawk on out of here. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night at the same time. Keep it real. Keep it cool. Don't let anyone get you stirred into the negative zone. Positive vibes. All right. Night, guys. God bless you.
Come on,